Jumapili hii kwenye runinga ya KBC, ungana naye Askofu Michael Wanderi wa kanisa la Christian Foundation Fellowship Kiambu kuanzia saa 1 hadi saa 2 asubuhi.
Ningetaka nikwambie, our Jehovah God, because the Bible says he is the same yesterday, today and forevermore. He is able to take you to a place of abundance. He is able to take you to Rehoboth in the name of Jesus Christ.
Kipindi ni neno la neema, ukiletewa naye Askofu Michael Wanderi wa kanisa la Christian Foundation Fellowship Kiambu. Usikose.
Good evening and welcome to this edition of Channel 1 Weekend. I hope you had yourself a very wonderful day today. A lot of things have happened today and we have a comprehensive coverage of that. Tonight on this program, we'll be taking a look at the journey that Kenya has had over the last 2 years as far as the universal health coverage is concerned. We'll be taking a look at how Laikipia County is maximizing on primary health care and urging residents to sign up for the National Hospital Insurance Fund so as to achieve all the intended objectives of UHC. All that coming up in this live broadcast. But first, let's have the highlights. The BBI question. MCS from 10 counties pledged to endorse the BBI-led constitutional amendment bill following a meeting with President Kenyatta at Sagana State Lodge in Nyeri. Change of guard. Martin Wambora takes over as chair of the Council of Governors with a pledge to re-engineer the war on graft. COVID-19 vaccine. Government to vaccinate 1.2 million Kenyans against COVID-19 in 5 months, with vaccines expected in the country from next month. Once again, thank you very much for joining us for this live broadcast. My name is Edward Kabasa. Susan Thuku is handling the sign language interpretation for us tonight. You can interact with us throughout this live broadcast through our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 TV on Facebook and on Twitter at KBC Channel 1. 550 county assembly members from 10 counties are vowed to back the BBI-driven constitutional amendment bill. The MCAs who held a closed-door meeting with President Uhuru Kenyatta at Sagana State Lodge in Nyeri pledged to endorse the document, citing it will ensure development at the grassroots. Sarafina Ruby with details of the visit by the President to Central Kenya that has kicked up a political storm in the region.
the 29th of January will mark the start of President Uhuru Kenyatta's 4-day working tour of central Kenya. The day will begin with State House spokesperson Kanze Dana Mararu spelling out the president's itinerary, with him expected to undertake his duties from Sagana State Lodge in Nyeri County.
Ataweza kuuzuru maendeleo kadha na miradi kadha mingine ambayo ilikuwa imeanza kitambo na mingine ambayo inaendelea kwa hivi sasa, lakini kwa miradi hiyo tutaweza kukupasha jinsi tunavyoendelea ili tukijua ni wapi tunatangulizia alafu ni wapi tunamalizia.
First on his to-do list was a meeting with 550 NCAs from various counties in which he drummed up support for amendment of the constitution. The MCAs will emerge from the meeting to declare the support for the document. At least 10 counties represented by MCAs at the meeting say they will rally behind the Constitution Amendment Bill 2020. They include Meru, Tharaka Nithi, Embu, Kirinyaga, Nyeri, Murang'a, Nyandarua, Kiambu, Laikipia, and Nakuru County. On Saturday, President Kenyatta is expected to host key central Kenya leaders in a meeting whose main agenda is development. He will also inspect national government projects in the coming week before he concludes his development tour. For Channel 1 News, I'm Sarafina Robbie.
And Embu Governor Martin Wambora has pledged to re-energize the war on corruption in the counties following his election as the chairperson of the Council of Governors. Wambora, who takes over from Wycliffe Oparanya, whose term expired, also vowed to strengthen collaboration with the national government. He will be deputized by KBC County Governor James Ngwai. Safina Chingo-Uma with details of the changes of leadership at the Council of Governors.
As he takes over the leadership of the Council of Governors, Embu Governor Martin Nyaga Wambora makes history as a governor with 9 lives, having survived an impeachment motion after the courts overturned his removal from office and later upheld his election as governor that was challenged by Lenny Kivuti. As he takes the reins of power, Wambora is pledging to re-energize the graft war and focus on service delivery.
Provide the leadership for strengthening cooperation and coordination between national government and county government. I will also commit for spearheading negotiations to ensure adequate resourcing to county government to at least 35% of the national raised revenue.
Wambora was elected alongside KBC Governor James Ngwai and Elgeyo Marakwet Governor Alex Tolgos, who will serve the COG as Vice Chair and Chief Whip, respectively. Outgoing Chair Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya challenged the new leadership to push for timely disbursement of county funds.
As I hand over today, 26 counties are yet to receive their November allocation, and no county has received the December and January allocation. The struggle, therefore, continues.
Devolution CS Eugene Wamalwa challenged the incoming leadership to continue working with the national government to support devolution.
And what we want to see is more resources going to the counties, more capacity being built in our counties. And this we want to assure you from national government, we are going to work with you. And from our development partners, we want to negotiate and increase more support. From UNDP, Walid told us about the training of health workers. We really appreciate that. We need to give our counties more support.
COG also elected 12 members to chair different committees, including Governor James Nyoro, who will be in charge of agriculture, Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru as the chair of the Gender Committee, Nyeri Governor Mutahi Kahiga on education, Kisumu Governor Anyang' Nyong'o Health Committee, and Governor Dado Godana to chair the Security Committee. For Channel 1 News, I'm Safin Aching Ouma.
Thank you, Safina Ching, for that report. In other matters, calls for unity of purpose and political tolerance have continued to reverberate as the clamor for constitutional review heads to county assemblies. A section of leaders has urged the president to call politicians to order to cool rising political temperatures in the country. Caroline Kamau with the details.
Kenyans have in the last few weeks witnessed heightened political activity as politicians move to marshal support for their respective positions on the ongoing push for constitutional review. United Democratic Alliance Chairman Johnston Muthama on Friday called on the president to intervene and rid the Riot Act to lead a sowing division in the country. Muthama argues that the handshake has failed to achieve its objective because some quarters feel left out of the process.
Is where he has placed himself is between Raila and Ruto. So the best thing to do is to call Ruto and Raila and sit them down and tell them, I made a mistake. I went with you without telling my deputy. And my deputy, I left you, I went with Raila without telling you. So here we are. If we are not careful, we are going to divide this country. Is there a way that you can sit down and agree on the way we will work together and make Kenyans and allow Kenyans to live a united nation? If that does not happen, the other section of that option is seem to behave the way Kibaki behaved. Say, well, yes, I've made mistakes, but you, Raila, go out and ask votes from Kenyans. Ruto, go out and ask Kenyans for votes, and everybody else, and let us see who wins.
Meanwhile, Lurambi Member of Parliament Titus Hamala has called on the Luya community to rally behind one of their own.
Sisi tuamue kwa kauli moja, Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi awe rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya. Kwa sababu uwezi endelea kudharau chenye uko nacho. How do you despise whom you have? Eti sasa mtoto wako si mzuri, eti mtoto wa jirani ndio? It's up to you, yes.
The legislators spoke even as ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi maintained that the biggest agenda for the country is economic recovery and not politics.
Kupoteza kazi 2 million jobs in the last 1 year ni pigo kubwa sana. Na hata wale wanafanya biashara ya kama kwa hawking na nini, they must be given space kufanya biashara. Hii mambo tena ya wanasiasa kama sisi kila siku tunazurura. Wewe umeweka bidhaa zako pale, magari yangu yanakuja yanakanyaga hizo bidhaa. Unapoteza pesa hapo. Na unataka ulishe familia. Haya pia lazima tuangalie na tukomeshe. Let us do politics in a decent way. People must earn a living.
Mudavadi urged Kenyans to interrogate issues being propagated by politicians and make sober decisions. Meanwhile, Maendeleo ya Wanawake has thrown its weight behind the ongoing push for constitutional review.
In America, independent over 200 years, what can happen with a negative story? So Maendeleo says here today, with a lot of humility, we shall support BBI.
The organization says the process will offer an anecdote to conflicts experienced during the election period. The Maendeleo ya Wanawake boss has, however, challenged leaders to stop polarizing the country and focus on what will build the country. Caroline Kamar reporting for Channel 1 News Hour.
Let's take a look at some health matters now. Over 1.2 million Kenyans are set to be inoculated against COVID-19 before June this year. The government says Kenya will procure 24 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine from COVAX and 11 million doses from other manufacturers, with a view of vaccinating up to 16 million people over a period of 18 months. The announcement came even as the country recorded 141 new cases of COVID-19.
Health Chief Administrative Secretary Mercy Mwangangi on Friday said 24 million doses of COVAX facility and some 11 million shots of vaccine will be procured to inoculate some 16 million Kenyans over the next 18 months.
COVAX enables us to access many vaccines, not just the AstraZeneca vaccine. So we have Pfizer and many other vaccine candidates who've been successful in terms of the trials, vaccines that are safe. So it's not just that one vaccine. Yes, that is the vaccine that we're leaning on as a country because it is the vaccine that we're able to deploy quickly because of our infrastructure when it comes to immunization. However, should a situation change, remember we have access to other vaccine candidates, so that means Kenya will not be left out at the end of it.
Among the first to receive the vaccine will be healthcare workers. security agents, teachers, and those working in care homes.
That any vaccines authorized for emergency use by the SRA have already undergone trials and have been found to be safe for use. As part of its deployment plan, the government has set up a safety and monitoring system. And this system will ensure that the vaccine that you receive is safe. It will ensure that the vaccine that you receive has undergone the necessary market authorization procedures and that you're able to get it without any adverse effects.
She said the vaccine program will be in 3 phases, with the first one being between February and June this year, where 1.25 million people will be vaccinated, with phase 2 targeting 9.7 million people between July 2021 to June 2022.
And in this phase 3, we hope to target the vaccination of 4.9 million people, who will include all other vulnerable populations, like those who live in congregate settings. It is therefore important to note that if vaccines become available sooner than expected and that resources are also availed, that these targets may change as the situation changes.
Meanwhile, Kenya has recorded 141 new cases of COVID-19 from a sample size of 5,644 tested in the last 24 hours. This now brings the total number of cases in the country to 100,563. The Ministry of Health says 64 patients have recovered from the contagion, bringing the total number of recoveries to 83,821. No death was, however, recorded in the last 24 hours. 477 patients are currently admitted in various health facilities countrywide, while 1,368 are on home-based isolation and care. 27 patients are in ICU, 14 of whom are on ventilatory support, and 13 are on supplemental oxygen. Beatrice Gatonyang-Etich, Channel 1 News.
And still on matters health, the strike by healthcare workers continues to be felt in public health facilities across the country. Patients seeking services in public hospitals have been forced to seek alternatives, albeit at an extra cost. Nancy Okware with details on the impact of the ongoing standoff between healthcare workers and county governments.
Empty compounds and reception halls characterize a number of public hospitals across the country. Ambulances parked, perhaps with no patients to attend to, following the ongoing nurses and clinical officer strike that has been in force for several weeks now. At the Coast General Hospital, the front gate is under key and lock, with only a few patients allowed in through the back gate. Patients seeking services say they have been turned away, with private hospitals remaining the only option despite the cost involved.
Nimekuja hapa hospitalini kujifungua na nimekutana na daktari, wanasema wamegoma. Tangu juzi niko hapa, nikija wananiangalia, wananiambia nirudi nyumbani. Sasa wameniambia wametransfer hospitali nyingine, wananiambia nitafute hospitali ya private niende.
At the Ngara Health Center in Nairobi County, only a handful of patients are spotted seeking services, with reception halls remaining deserted.
Siko na shida yote ya strike kwa sababu tungesumbuana, lakini sijapata kusumbuliwa.
A similar situation is replicated at the Kasarani Health Center. At the Kiambu Level 5 hospital, only emergency cases were being attended to, with the hospital almost deserted. The striking caregivers insist that they will not go back to work until their demands are met, citing frustration by the Council of Governors.
Low financial status, they depend solely on the government facility to get services, and now those services are no longer there, and it comes to the extent where they must get services. So what they do is that they must be able to find an alternative, which is the private sector, and it is not also easily available to them.
Na tumeweza kuona mfuriko wa wagonjwa kwenda hospitali za kibinafsi ambazo nyingi zao hazijakuwa registered na hii serikali yetu, na hatujui huduma ya afya wagonjwa wetu wanaendelea kupata.
It will be very good that if they consider that, come back and we begin our discussions why the services are going.
Venye nasikia nchi mzima, the whole country wameenda or they are on strike, but now here in Mandera County the story is too different. Naona hata venye unaona nimetolewa damu na nimepatiwa na mshana na hudumiwa vizuri.
The demands come in even as the county government of Busia said it is in the process of replacing the striking health workers.
Ndio sababu tumetangaza kazi za clinical officers and nurses. Nafikiri ilikwisha jana. Kuanzia kesho tutaitisha interview.
As the impasse between the Council of Governors, clinical officers and the nurses union persists, the patients across the country continue to bear the brunt with the hope that very soon the crisis will be resolved and that all the services will be restored across all the hospitals. Nancy Okware, Channel 1 News.
Thank you very much, Nancy Okware, for that report. And let us take a look at other matters now. Kenya has been on a journey to strengthen her resilience to public health emergencies through the universal health coverage for the last 2 years. As one of the pillars of President Uhuru Kenyatta's Big Four agenda, UHC is seeking to, among others, deliver affordable health care by reducing financial hardship linked to illness. Since the rollout of UHC, counties such as Laikipia have invested heavily in primary health care and sensitization campaigns to achieve the intended objectives of UHC by the year 2022. Take a look. Meet Caroline Teia as she holds her newborn infant. She has had to extend her stay at the hospital as doctors monitor the weight of her baby.
Yangu ako na kilo moja sijui na pointi ngapi. Nimesahau kwa sababu sijasoma. Sasa yangu mtoto wangu sasa anakuwa. Wakati nimeleta hapa sioni kama atakuwa. Lakini sasa hivi ninaona amekuwa tofauti. Kama ako nyumbani sasa sina.
Caroline is among hundreds of women enrolled under the Linda Mama program, which aims to provide affordable antenatal and postnatal care to mothers countrywide. Caroline says she comes from a community that is deeply rooted in a traditional belief that a woman should only give birth with the help of a traditional birth attendant.
Karibu wote anakuja. Mtu mjinga tu anazaa nyumbani. Sasa wote anakuja. Kwa sababu hospitali ni free. Hata ukigonjeka ugonjwa ingine usilipa.
Laikipia Deputy Governor and the County First Lady launched a program dubbed Goat for Every Delivery. The program seeks to encourage traditional birth attendants to assist and guide expectant mothers to attend antenatal clinics and reward them with a goat to turn to a new source of livelihood. Through a targeted sensitization campaign by 1,094 community health volunteers, the county seeks to convince expectant mothers to seek maternity services in health centers. The number of mothers giving birth in hospitals in the county has risen from 42% to 62% in the last 4 years, in what the county attributes to concerted efforts by community health volunteers.
The same community health volunteers, we introduced what we call as a community-based health information system into Mjali, so they could do more. They could provide information on immunization, they could provide information on reproductive health, where to deliver, what is it that you're supposed to do in case you need to deliver safely.
At Chumvi Dispensary, we meet Evelyn Lena, a first-time mother. Just like Caroline Teia, Evelyn is a beneficiary of the Linda Mama program.
Even when I gave birth, I was given the kit. So niliona like huku service ya huku iko sawa sana, iko poa.
Since 2003, I mean not 2013.
Lillian is a community health volunteer. She tells me the journey to improving maternal health care has not been a walk in the park.
Going all around, up and down, and sometimes people are not all the same. Sometimes you may go and encounter very, very stubborn people. You know, they don't want, most of them, they don't want to see visitors.
Harrison Saikong, a community health volunteer for 8 years, introduces us to Lucas Moyare, a resident of Doldol sub-county. Moyare has battled diabetes for over 10 years.
Nilienda lab. Kunipima nikajulikana niko na sukari. Gonja. Hata sasa. Nilikuwa nasimia hata. Sasa zinashindwa nini nafanya na nizimia.
Having exhausted all his financial options, he was advised by Saikong to seek assistance from the county government to meet the cost of treatment and management of his condition.
Alikuwa na mbuzi na ng'ombe, sasa alikuwa tu anauza akienda hospitali. Akasumbuka akienda hospitali ya serikali, private hospitals, akauza hizo mali yake yote mpaka iishe. Anashinja mbuzi, anatumia miti ya kienyeji na ugonjwa haikupatikana ni ugonjwa gani.
Access to quality primary health care is the backbone of universal health coverage in Laikipia County. Facilities such as Nturukuma Dispensary is now able to offer services such as cervical cancer screening.
Mostly with cancer, there is fear. There is fear. You have to convince a mother because of fear. Maybe a person fears, maybe when she is screened, she'll be found positive, which is not always, so you have to do counseling.
The county government has been encouraging residents to register with the National Hospital Insurance Fund to lessen the financial burden when they fall ill.
We could collect now household data that we are calling as a socioeconomic status, socioeconomic data that we could use now to get to know what is it that is happening within communities and a household in terms of economics. Then we could also, they also collect the information for us in terms of what are the knowledge, what is the attitude, and what are the practices of our people in Laikipia along issues of health insurance.
Since 2017, the number of NHIF subscriptions in Laikipia County has risen from 37,000 to 71,000 with few cancellations and defaults.
So since we brought on board the CHVs, they are able to monitor and actually reach these people and remind them of their payments.
Jen Rose is about to finish the second of our 2 weekly dialysis sessions at the Nanyuki Teaching and Referral Hospital. Just like all the patients here, Jen's dialysis is being paid for by the NHIF.
Na naona inatusaidia sana kwa sababu kama si hiyo mtu kama mimi singejiweza kwa sababu hakuna kazi nafanya, siwezi fanya kazi kwa sababu hata mwili ni wiki.
Dr. Mugo Mambo says the hospital is in the process of leasing more dialysis machines to cater for a rising demand for renal care.
The room has a capacity of 10 machines, so it will be having 10 machines in the next 2 to 3 months.
Chief Officer Health and Medical Services Dr. Donald Mugoi pointed out Laikipia County is investing in preventive health care to ease the burden on the county's level 4 and level 5 health facilities.
Preventive programs, can they be replicated in Kenya? Yes, they can be replicated in Kenya. And that's what we've done that is doing there. So we need political goodwill, we need the introduction of the technology, we need to invest more in primary healthcare and preventive healthcare, as much as we also investing on what? The specialist facilities.
The national government recently integrated universal health coverage in the health sector strategy in a bid to eliminate preventable maternal and child deaths, as well as strengthen resilience to public health emergencies. Universal health coverage is also geared towards reducing financial burden linked to illness, as well as strengthening foundations for long-term economic growth. Reporting for Channel 1 News from Laikipia County, I am Edward Kabasa. All right, that is the journey that Laikipia has been on as regards to the universal health coverage. Of course, 2 years after the government rolled out the universal health coverage, counties have been doing what they can to ensure that they meet the objectives of this program, at least by 2022. Universal health coverage, affordable healthcare is one of the 4 pillars of President Uhuru Kenyatta's development agenda. We are taking a very short break. Don't go anywhere. Channel 1 News Hour will continue shortly.
Malaria ni ugonjwa hatari sana unaoua watu wengi hapa Kenya. Japo kuko na korona, hatari ya malaria bado iko. Mtoto huyu alikuwa na joto jingi, kutetemeka, kuumwa na viungo na uchovu. Alikimbizwa hospitali ya umma ambako sheria za COVID-19 huzingatiwa na ni salama kwa shughuli ya upimaji. Vipimo vilionyesha kuwa ana malaria na papo hapo daktari akampa dawa za malaria na kumshauri azimalize, na ili kujikinga wawe wakilala ndani ya neti iliyotibiwa. Malaria husambazwa na mbu. Walio hatarini ni watoto wa chini ya miaka 5 na akina mama wajawazito. Kupimwa na kutibiwa ni bure katika hospitali zote za umma. Usisahau adui malaria. Zero malaria huanza na mimi. Chukua jukumu leo. Komesha malaria. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwenu na Wizara ya Afya.
Every Saturday and Sunday, KBC rejuvenates your weekend with gospel tunes and strengthen your faith with the word. As we bring you Seventh-day Adventist Sermon, Saturdays at 10 a.m.
In the Bible, we can find answers to life's most important questions.
The Holy Mass on Sundays at 9:30 a.m.
Mwana kondoo wa Mungu aondoaye dhambi za dunia. Tazameni yeye anayetuponya magonjwa yetu yote ya mwili na ya roho.
The All Saints Cathedral at 11 a.m.
Pray that the Lord Jesus Christ may raise you to be a witness.
KBC Channel 1.
Thank you very much for keeping us company. This is Channel 1 News Hour. My name is Edward Kabasa. Glad to be with you. Let us take a look at security matters now. The National Police Service has dismissed claims of human rights violations in the ongoing security operation in Kapedo. This development comes as a post-mortem examination indicated that at least 6 people whose bodies were discovered in a bush in Baringo South were tortured before they were shot dead. Meanwhile, 7 people have been arrested and 35 illegal firearms recovered as officers comb the area. Jacqueline Wembiru with the details.
The government announced the 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew in Kapedo barely 2 weeks after the killing of 3 police officers, including a senior GSU officer, by alleged bandits 2 weeks ago. The curfew would see officers deployed in the area to keep the peace, as well as disarm civilians with illegal weapons in Kapedo and Arabal. Following the start of the operation, The officers have been accused of human rights violation, prompting the police spokesperson Charles Owino to speak out on the claims.
So we don't have things called extrajudicial killings. It's a fallacy. It's a political gimmick that people use. Yes, there are circumstances when a person may be killed lawfully or unlawfully, because extrajudicial killings requires you to have a policy to execute. We don't have as a government a policy to execute. And you are aware that even cases where police officers have unlawfully killed, we have charged them in court.
The officers are on the spot following a post-mortem of the bodies of 6 people found dumped in Baringo South, which indicate they were tortured before they were shot dead.
There's nothing we are covering. If somebody has died in a circumstance that it is thought that he has been killed by another person, then it is important that we inquire into the cause of death through a court of law. And if somebody has been involved in the killing, the person will take responsibility, especially the police. We don't take collective responsibility. We take individual responsibilities. That is why even when we are 20 in an operation and somebody is killed and is killed unlawfully, we take those guns for forensic to determine and establish who in particular has killed them.
Owino says the multi-agency operation will continue until normalcy is restored. At the same time, he pointed out 7 people have been arrested and 35 illegal firearms recovered.
The National Police Service is currently carrying out an operation in Kapedo and Arabal in order to bring the killers to book, recover illicit arms and stolen animals. We have also asked the locals to voluntarily surrender illicit arms.
He also cautioned pastoralist communities in Kapedo against attacking police. In the meantime, he has warned learners involved in the burning and destruction of school property they will be criminally liable.
All persons aged 8 years and above are criminally liable for any criminal acts or omissions that they commit. They have a criminal responsibility as long as you are 8 years and above. Upon prosecution, your criminal records shall be kept by the Criminal Records Office at the DCI for the rest of your life. This will definitely affect your future career prospects.
Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Jackie Wambiru.
Determination by the Court of Appeal on any election appeal will be final if the Constitution review process is adopted. The Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2020 also seeks to limit the tenure of the President of the Court of Appeal to a single term of 5 years. Kevin Washira tells on proposed changes in the Court of Appeal in tonight's segment of Constitutional Review.
Clause 37 of the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2020 proposes to amend Article 164 of the Constitution to provide for the finality of the determination by the Court of Appeal on the validity of any appeal relating to an election other than presidential election. Currently, petitioners in the elections petition can still seek legal redress at the Supreme Court even after the matter has been dispensed with at the High Court and Court of Appeal. The amendment further seeks to limit the tenure of the President of the Court of Appeal to a single term of 5 years. According to Article 164 of the Constitution, the President of the Court of Appeal is elected by the judges of the Court of Appeal. Kevin Washira, Channel 1 News.
Ten students from Kiambere Mixed Secondary School who allegedly burnt down the school dormitory have been arraigned in court, appearing before Principal Magistrate. I beg your pardon. I'll take that story again, where 10 students of Kiambere Secondary Schools who are accused of burning the school dormitory have been arraigned in court. They have denied the charges and have been released on bail. Details of this and other stories in our County News Roundup.
10 students of Canberra Secondary School will be put to their defense days after they allegedly torched a dormitory. The students who were released on bail join a growing list of learners accused of being behind the latest spate of arson in schools across the country.
The accused person shall be released upon executing a bond of 100,000. With the one shall to a similar amount.
Meanwhile, a section of residents of Nyandarua are appealing to well-wishers to come to the aid of a 76-year-old man living in the area. Peter Morero says he has been forced to live in a squalor after being abandoned by his family.
Mzee wakati wa mvua apate chakula hali ni kwa sababu mvua inapotelemuka hiyo maji yote inakuja inazima moto, unapata ule mzee anabaki kama amekaukiwa.
And in Nakuru County, the Land Registry Office in Naivasha is on the spot over increased cases of double land allocation. Residents of Mbegi area have held demonstrations accusing the registry of abetting land grabbing in the region.
Na haki waweze kukuja kwa ofisi yangu ili tuweze kuwasikisha na tutaweza hata kuita bishop ambaye wanalaumu ili tuketi na yeye. Tutaweza kuzungumza tuone ni njia ipi anaweza kusikizana na majirani yake ili usitokee ugomvi kati yao.
Finally, the judiciary will in the next few weeks staff the newly established court in Canal Town, Murang'a South.
We have been having 127 courts. So after taking this one over and sending our people and launching it, it is going to be court number 128 and the 5th in Murang'a County.
Chief Registrar Ann Amadi says the judiciary is working on modalities to ensure a smooth operation of the court in a bid to dispense justice and clear existing backlog of cases. For Channel 1 News, I'm Jacqueline Masharia.
Let's now cross our border, where a Dutch court has ordered the Nigerian subsidiary of Shell to pay a compensation over oil spills in Nigeria's Niger Delta, a ruling which could pave a way for more cases against multinational oil firms. China, in the meantime, says it will no longer recognize the British National Office's passport for Hong Kong residents. Details of this and other stories in our international news roundup.
A Dutch appeals court has ruled that the Nigerian branch of oil giant Shell is responsible for damage caused by leaks in the Niger Delta. The court ordered Shell Nigeria to pay compensation to Nigerian farmers, while the subsidiary and its Anglo-Dutch parent company were told to install equipment to prevent future damage. The case was launched in 2008 by 4 Nigerian farmers who alleged widespread pollution on their land. The ruling can be appealed against. Elsewhere, a new COVID-19 vaccine from Novavax was found to be 89% effective in a clinical trial conducted in the UK and appears to offer protection against some variants of the coronavirus, the American biotech firm has announced. Meanwhile, the European Commission has published its contract with drug maker AstraZeneca for its COVID-19 vaccine amid a row over supplies. The move came hours after Commission chief increased pressure on the company over its decision to reduce supplies to the EU. The vaccine is expected to be approved by the EU medicines regulator later. Finally, China on Friday said it will no longer recognize the British National Overseas Passport for Hong Kong people as the United Kingdom prepares to open its doors to million more residents of its former colony following a Beijing security crackdown. Beijing's move to impose a national security law in June last year prompted Britain to offer refuge to almost 3 million Hong Kong residents. For Channel 1 News, I am Emily K. Bade.
The Kenya Defence Forces KDF is pleased to announce to the public the recruitment of General Service Officer GSO cadets, General Service Officer GSO cadets, undergraduate degree holders, specialist officers, general duty recruits, tradesmen and women, and Defence Forces constables, which is scheduled to take place in the month of February 2021. Remember, no one can influence the recruitment process. KDF recruitment is absolutely free to all. For more information, tune in to Radio Taifa on the 29th of January 2021, just immediately after the 7 p.m. news. Check out the local dailies. The Standard newspaper on the 31st of January 2021. MyGov inside the Star newspaper on the 22nd of January 2021, and the People's Daily on the 26th of January and the 5th of February.
Leo ni ile siku ya double kwenye quickbid.co.ke. Tunakupa home theater na fridge.
Kama unataka home theater ni rahisi sana. Enda kwenye lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number ekelea 4032353. 4032353. Account ekelea HT kama kodi ya home theater, fuatanisha na unique number.
Kama unataka fridge wekelea CM ndio kodi ya fridge, kisha fuatanisha na shilingi 20 peke yake. Wekelea pin yako na hivyo ndivyo utakuwa umekelea bid kwenye quickbid.co.ke. Bidhaa bora kwenye bei ya nini?
Chini kwa chini, ati chini kwa chini.
Jiunga na Quickbid ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bid yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16, kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bid yako pia kwenye www.quickbid.co.ke. Kumbuka, bid ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio hununua. Quickbid, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Wiki hii kwenye Mkulima tutajumuika na vijana wa Huruma.
Naweza eleza watu wote wenye wanaishi Nairobi kwamba urban farming ni kitu iko na ni ukulima ambayo imekubalika. 2015 Act ya Nairobi County inatupatia nguvu ya kufanya ukulima ya Nairobi. Bora ufanye ukulima kulingana na zile stakabadhi zenye zimewekwa na serikali.
Kisha tufuge nguruwe na mbuzi wa maziwa.
Kwangu nguruwe si kitu mchafu. Kwangu ukiona nguruwe kama ni chafu, mkulima ndio mchafu. Nguruwe si chafu. Ukirudisha nguruwe kwa mazingira masafi itakuwa safi sana. Maana yake inajua mahali pa kukula, mahali pa kulala na mahali pa kusaidia.
Basi ungana nasi Jumapili saa 9:30 kwa mseto kamili wa kilimo hapa KBC Channel 1.
KBC Channel 1 evokes the full potential of worship in you.
You are the living God.
You waited for me, just for me.
Join us for an experience like no other when it comes to lifting your soul and giving adoration.
We are here for you. Tasimama tena, tainuka tena.
Worship experience. Praise mix.
All of a sudden.
Thank you very much for keeping us company. Let us take a look at some business news now. A new contractor for the installed Itare Dam is expected to move to the site later this year after 3 years of delays. The government says it is in the process of selecting a new contractor for the 38 billion shilling dam that was abandoned in 2018. The government has also said the construction of the 24 billion shilling Kariminu Dam in Kiambu County will be commissioned in May 2022.
Work on the 38 billion shillings Itare Dam started in 2016 and was hailed as a game changer in addressing the perennial water shortage that haunts Nakuru County and its environs. The dam, which was supposed to be completed this year, stalled, exposing the country to a serious loss. However, 2 years into construction, Italian company CMC di Ravenna, which was building the dam, filed for bankruptcy in an Italian court.
We also are confident that these are issues that can be dealt with in the relevant offices to unlock the challenges that are here so that this project can come to fruition.
Infrastructure Principal Secretary Paul Maringa says the government is in the process of picking a new contractor to complete the work by the year 2023. The dam is a flagship project under the Vision 2030 meant to address water scarcity in the country.
So it's an all-encompassing team. We bring together a lot of resources in terms of knowledge and professionalism that will help us unlock the challenge that we've witnessed today.
Elsewhere, the construction of the Kiriminu Dam is 37% complete, with commissioning expected to be in May 2022. The 24 billion shillings project, located in Gatundu North, Kiambu County, will have a capacity of 26 million cubic meters once complete.
So far, we've been told the progress is commendable and all measures are in place. We can see the spillover is almost done. They say within the next 3 months before the heavy rains come, that will be done.
The dam will serve more than 1 million residents, including Juja, Gatundu North, and Nairobi. During a tour as part of the inspection of various projects in Kiambu County and led by PS Public Works Major General retired Dr. Gordon Kihalangwa, the National Development Implementation Technical Committee expressed satisfaction with the works.
This project will resolve quite a number of issues. For example, the shortage of water in Nairobi will definitely be alleviated. Upcoming towns like Luiru, Gatundu will also benefit from this water project.
The project, being implemented by the Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation through Earthy Water Works Development Agency, entails construction of a 59-meter-high dam, laying more than 60 kilometers water transmission pipelines and concrete water storage tanks.
And in other matters, Kenya Railways has partnered with Nzoia Sugar Company in a deal that will see the state agency transport sugar and other related products from Nzoia Company headquarters based in Bungoma to Nairobi and back. Kenya Railways Managing Director Philip Mainga says the rail haulage contract signing was a signal of a good comeback for rail operations within the western region.
Even as the rehabilitation work on the 216 kilometers Naivasha-Kisumu railway line gets underway, this development is already stirring excitement in the region. In a bid to cut transport costs and improve efficiency, Nzoia Sugar Company hope its partnership with Kenya Railways will position the company strategically to conquer the Kenyan sugar market and ultimately increase the company's market share. Speaking at the signing off ceremony, Kenya Railways Managing Director Philip Mainga revealed that future plans are in place to expand railing of the product to the coastal region, amongst other regions, including the meter gauge rail and standard gauge rail networks. This partnership comes at the back of heavy investments by the government in the rail sector countrywide in the last few years. Alan Aoko, Channel 1 Business.
Time for sports. World half marathon record holder Kabasa and reigning world cross-country champion Helen Obiri led from gun to tape to bag the Kenya Defence Forces cross-country titles at the Moi Air Base, Nairobi.
Obiri, who had lost her title last year to Sheila Chepkirui due to a nagging injury, took charge of the race from the onset. The world 5,000 meters champion controlled the leading pack that comprised of Joyce Chepkemoi, Chepkurui, Nesfin Chepleting, and Irene Kamais. Obiri overpowered Chepkemoi and Chepkurui in the last lap to cross the line in 33 minutes, 25.1 seconds. Chepkemoi came in second while Chepkurui completed the podium dash.
Ndio ya leo imekuwa si rahisi sababu tulikuwa competitive athletes. So nimejaribu sababu ni my first race of the year. So first race ni wanakicha kuona penye mwili iko. Na so far nimeona niko ready for upcoming races.
In the men's category, Kibiwot Kandia easily defended his title after leading from start to finish to cross the line in 29 minutes, 24.5 seconds, ahead of Collins Koros, who came in second, while Eric Kiptanui settled for that position.
Leo imekuwa ngumu sana kulingana na wakimbiaji wenzangu wote walikuwa washa train ya kutosha. Hata mimi nilikuwa nimetrain, lakini ilikuwa jukumu langu kuretain hiyo title na kuwa mshindi wa hii mbio wa leo.
Meanwhile, Obiri also anchored his Laikipia Air Base team to victory in the universal relay despite taking the baton in 4th position. The event was used by the Kenya Defence Forces to select a team that will take part in the national trials, slated for 13th of next month at the Ngong Racecourse. The trials will see athletes battle out for a place in the Kenyan team for the Africa Cross Country Championships, slated for 6th to 7th of March in Lome, Togo. Karanja David for Channel 1 Sport.
And in other matters, the inaugural Football Kenya Federation Women's Cup is set to kick off this weekend with a total of 16 matches lined up. On Saturday, Solasa Queens will face SEP Ladies, which is currently 6th on the FKF Women Premier League log with 6 points, as the former currently stands at position 5 with 4 points in the FKF Women Division 1 League. Vihiga Leeds is set to battle it out with Kisumu All Starlets on Sunday at the Esirabe Primary School grounds. Winners of the first round will proceed to the round of 16, which is scheduled to take place on February 27th and 28th. The quarter-final is set for March, with the final set for June 1st. Vihiga United coach Samuel Korth has urged his charges to remain focused when they host Sofapaka in Mumias tomorrow following their win against Gor Mahia last weekend. Elsewhere, Arsenal will be out to extend the recent impressive form in the league when they host Manchester United at the Emirates Stadium. Here is a look at some of the matches scheduled for this weekend. And that does it for us for this edition of Channel One Weekend. We do thank you very much for joining us tonight. You can stay up to date with breaking news on Twitter at KBC Channel One. You can also log on to our website www.kbc.co.ke for more news. My name is Edward Kabasa. Susan Thuku has been our sign language interpreter tonight, and that's where we wind up matters. Up next is the weather forecast.
Tonight, Narok, Nyeri and Eldoret are the coldest, with temperatures over there dropping to 11 degrees Celsius. Rainfall is expected in the high of the Rift Valley region, with the rest of the country experiencing dry weather conditions. Good evening. My name is Yusuf Farah. Time now for your Channel 1 weather update. And tomorrow morning, we'll be waking up to sunny intervals in most parts of the country, from the northeastern region all the way to the coast. Lamu, Malindi, Kilifi and Kwale, in areas of the capital city, Nairobi and its environs, and the same in areas of Lodwar. In the afternoon, things will take a turn in areas of Narok and Kisii, where there will be showers accompanied by thunderstorms. Remember to keep warm over there. Sunny intervals dominating the coastal region, the northeastern region, all the way to the left Turkana Basin and areas bordering Kenya and South Sudan. As far as the temperatures are concerned, highs of 35, lows of 20 in Mandera, Marsabit, highs of 27, lows of 17, and the capital city, highs of 27 and lows of 13. That brings us to the end of the local weather focus. The international weather focus is coming up in a bit. I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place, only on Channel 1. Until then, have yourselves a lovely night.